Hello, and welcome to this presentation on grading policies for the middle schools for the 2014 and 2015 school year. As we begin the school year, we would like to pose to you a question. What is the true purpose of a grade? Well, a grade, as you may know, can help you to understand how much you have learned. But a grade can also help you to understand what you have not learned. Not yet, anyway. A grade also serves as a quick and easily understood reference so that your teachers and your parents can know how you are doing in school. Just as importantly, we want to talk about what grades should not be. Grades really should not be your motivation. Your real motivation in school should be learning and growing as a person. Your grades really just measure that growth. Grades also should not be confusing. If you don't know why you're getting the grades that you're getting, you should work with your teacher to get a better understanding of what you can do to get grades that you like. Grades also should not be inaccurate. If a grade was skewed because of nerves, misunderstanding, or just being unprepared, learning should continue and your growth should be measured again. So what are the different types of grades? Well, as teachers, we talk about two different varieties of grades. We talk about formative and summative grades. Formative grades are basically just practice. These practice scores won't have a huge impact on your total grade. If, however, you don't do very well on practice regularly, you probably won't be very well prepared for the final assessments, those papers, projects, and tests. Everything you do in class, all of that practice, is meant to prepare for your summative assessment. So what is a summative assessment? A summative assessment is just a final measurement of your learning. Usually it happens at the end of a unit. Units of study can run from a couple of weeks all the way to several weeks. When you think of a summative, think of it kind of like a sports game or a concert performance. You'll spend a lot of time practicing, getting ready for the summative like you would for a game or a concert. And when the time comes for the summative assessment, students will be ready to show knowledge and skills all by themselves because they've done so much practice. Most students should expect to succeed on the summative assessment the first time around, as long as they've worked hard, done their practice, and worked with their teacher to understand expectations, just like you would with a coach. So what if you don't do very well on the summative assessments? Well, sometimes students do get D's or even F's on summative assessments. Typically, students will have noticed that they were getting low scores on practice, the formative stuff, and the score won't come as a surprise. Sometimes, however, a low score on a summative comes as a complete surprise. That can happen if students were nervous, maybe confused, or just made silly mistakes on the summative. Students who get D's and F's on these summatives will be encouraged to retake the summative by their teachers. So how does a retake work? Well, if you get a D or an F on a summative, you'll be encouraged by your teacher to retake that assessment. Retakes will need to be done within about a week of the time that you receive your D or an F. Within a day or two, you'll be reviewing your assessment and completing what's called an alternate learning plan. This is a worksheet, or a form, that helps you to design a plan that will help you to succeed on your second attempt. After you've completed your alternate learning plan, your teacher will review the plan with you and approve your plan, scheduling a time for your retake, making sure that you have a strong and effective plan. It's important to understand that the retake grade will replace the first grade that you received on your assessment. Some of you might be thinking, well, why wouldn't I just retake every test? Well, the retake won't be the exact same test or same paper or project. It might be completely different, in fact. So taking it twice without preparing all over again really won't give you an advantage. Also, if you retake more than a couple of summatives during the year, teachers will be contacting your parents for a conference to discuss why you're needing to use the retake policy so frequently. It's important to remember, too, that students are responsible for all of their current work while continuing to prepare for the second assessment. That means you could be in for a bit of a long week as you catch up on old work and continue to stay on pace with your new work. All preparation for retakes needs to be done outside of the school day so it does not slow down your progress on current and new work. What about zeros? It's important for students and parents to understand that at the middle schools, scores of zeros on summative assessments won't be accepted. Because we see these scores as so vitally important to understand how students have learned, we won't let kids opt out of the important stuff. Taking a 0 on practice, the formative work, is also a really bad idea because you're missing out on important feedback as you prepare for your summative performance assessments. So don't skip on the practice. If you don't do a final summative paper or project, you may even receive disciplinary consequences so that we can have you spend extra time at school finishing those things up. So what do responsible middle school students do? Successful students make a sincere attempt to do well on the first summative assessment. Successful middle school students also use retakes in special circumstances, but not with any regularity. Successful students will do all of their practice work with a high level of commitment to quality. Successful students reflect often on what makes them successful, but also where they struggle. When doing a retake, successful students will work extra hard to make sure that they're keeping up with current work while catching up on the old stuff. They know that the alternate learning plan all by itself is meaningless until they put in the hard work to make it work. A few parting words of wisdom. Be sure to concentrate on meeting your deadlines. Be sure that you fully understand the expectations for each unit as you do the practice. Try to take an active interest in what you're learning rather than just getting a grade. Remember, if you fail the first time, make it right by preparing with vigor the second time. And as always, do work that you, your parents, and your teachers can all be proud of. We hope that this presentation has been informative and helpful for you as you focus on the school year. Make it a great year.